with its star Sean Connery reluctant to play 007 anymore. We were fortunate enough to have him for the 5th Bond movie, You Only Live Twice. It's a fine film, thanks in part to a little magic from Roald Dahl. I'm Stephen Archibald, and welcome to my movie podcast. Hi there, and welcome to They Came From Within, Cult Movie Reviews. Live to Fight Another Day. You Only Live Twice, 1967. Roald Dahl, the celebrated children's author and master of the thriller with a twist in the tale, wrote the screenplay for You Only Live Twice, with additional material credited to Harold Jack Bloom. Despite his having been friends with the late Ian Fleming, Dahl actually disliked the source novel for this film, saying it was Ian's worst Bond book, without a plot in which to make a movie. Despite this, plus the fact that Dahl had only written one screenplay before, for a World War I movie which was abandoned after 5 weeks of shooting, he managed to transform this 007 novel into a wonderful celluloid experience. After NASA's Jupiter 16 spacecraft is mysteriously hijacked in orbit, the Americans suspect the Russians of foul play. Sometime later, however, the same thing happens to a Soviet capsule when MI6 suspect that a Japanese region could be a good location for solving the mystery. They send Bond in to investigate. That is, after they fake his demise in Tokyo. It proves to be a perilous journey, which leads 007 to the secret volcanic lair of Ernest Stavro Blofeld. We finally get to see the face of Spectre's number one. And what better way to begin than with the physiognomy of the fine character actor Donald Pleasence, with the devious Blofeld wanting the Soviets and the Americans to be at loggerheads. And us Bond fans were lucky to get Donald. The Czechoslovakian actor Jan Veric had already been picked to play Blofeld. But early on in the filming, the director Lewis Gilbert and the producer, Cubby Broccoli, concluded that Jan wasn't right for the role. That he just wasn't menacing enough, and it said that Jan felt unwell before every take. The art of being menacing certainly wasn't a problem for Mr. Pleasence. Sean Connery maintains a charismatic screen presence here as the intrepid MI6 agent, despite looking clearly jaded at times and carrying an extra bit of weight. It would have been known by all on set and elsewhere that Sean would not be taking part in the next Bond movie, so the atmosphere must have been somewhat strange. As I mentioned before, the movie was directed by Lewis Gilbert, following the success of his movie Alfie, starring Michael Caine. Gilbert directs the movie with pace and considerable expertise, and he was greatly helped by the outstanding cinematographer Freddie Young. The Japanese locations often look stunning. Broccoli and Saltzman were evidently happy with Gilbert, seeing as he got to direct 2 more 007 adventures, The Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker. Oh, I need to make a correction here. On my recent Goldfinger podcast episode, I said that Guy Hamilton directed the most Bond movies, but it's actually John Glenn who holds the record. He helmed 5 of them, so my apologies for this schoolboy error. It's lovely having a couple of familiar faces in You Only Live Twice. Charles Gray, who would go on to play Blofeld himself in Diamonds Are Forever, portrays Dicko Henderson, Bond's British contact in Japan. And Burt Kwok, immortalised for playing Kato in the Pink Panther movies, makes his second appearance in a James Bond film. Having played a Chinese agent in Goldfinger, he portrays Spectre's number 3 in this one. Aside from the exotic Japanese locations, the famous Toho studios were utilised, along with a number of their fine actors. This movie features 2 delightful actresses who hail from this country. Akiko Wakabayashi plays Aki, a courageous agent who assists Bond on his mission. And Mie Hama portrays Kissy Suzuki, a local girl 007 has to marry as part of his cover. Both of their interactions with Bond are quite appealing. And Western glamour was represented in the film by the German actress Karin Dohr. She plays the Spectre assassin Helga Brandt. The producers had wanted a different German actress, the gorgeous Ava Renzi, for the part, but she turned it down. No matter, Karen did a creditable job, in a role that is little more than a carbon copy of the one filled by Luciana Paluzzi in the previous movie Thunderball. The German-born Ken Adam is rightly regarded as one of cinema's greatest production designers. He won Oscars and BAFTAs, although, strangely enough, not for any of his James Bond projects. Ken worked on 7 Bond titles, namely this one, plus Dr. No, Goldfinger, Thunderball, Diamonds Are Forever, The Spy Who Loved Me, and Moonraker. He did receive an Oscar nomination for The Spy Who Loved Me. Ken had a tremendous imagination, and his designs lodge firmly in your mind, long after you watch a movie he took part in. You Only Live Twice is the one in which Adam was at his biggest and boldest. The finest example being Blofeld's spectacular secret lair, built inside a volcano. Constructed at Pinewood Studios, it's said to have cost $1 million to make, which was roughly 1/9 of the movie's budget. Adam's family had escaped from Nazi persecution in Germany and settled in Britain. Ken showed his support for his adopted country and struck out courageously against Hitler by joining the RAF. Ken Adam passed away on the 10th of March 2016 at the age of 95. John Steers, who had received the Bond franchise's second Oscar win for his visual effects on the previous title Thunderball, does an equally impressive job here, and the stuntmen Bob Simmons and George Leach each deserve a mention for their overall control of the inventive fight scenes. And as for the theme tune for You Only Live Twice, the original demo version of it was sung by English pop singer Julie Rogers. The composer John Barry and the lyricist Leslie Bricusse decided to rework the song, and when Frank Sinatra made the decision not to record it, the task was given to his daughter Nancy instead. And I must say, she did a marvellous job. It's easily one of my favourite movie theme tunes, with its lush orchestral strings and oriental touches. And the popular music star Robbie Williams certainly loved it enough to incorporate it into his 1998 hit single Millennium. And let's not forget that this is the Bond flick which features the much loved Little Nelly, the gyrocopter which was built and designed by the RAF Wing Commander Ken Wallace. You Only Live Twice was shot between July 1966 and March 1967. Produced by Albert R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman for Eon Productions, the movie was distributed by United Artists. It had its world premiere at the Odeon Leicester Square on the 12th of June 1967 and went on general release the following day. And along with all the other Bond flicks, it will live forever. I'm Stephen Archibald, and thanks very much for listening to my podcast, They Came From Within, Cult Movie Reviews. You can listen to or download any of my episodes from most podcast hosts. Thanks once again, take care, and bye-bye.